Hello, fabulous superstar Cancer. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of June 2025. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. And a limited number of consultations are available with me or with Andy of Wise Ass Astrology over the course of this summer. New dates have just been released of availability. You can learn a lot more and book your reading now. Links are below. Well, here it is. We are at the beginning of a massively important month. And it is this month. Part of what makes it so special is the fact that Jupiter enters your sign on the 9th of the month. And this is going to be a nice long stay to the later days of June 2026. And it is during the course of this time that there's an energy of protection, of possibility, and of big blessings. Now, ordinarily, I would say, look, yes, Jupiter's entering your sign, big blessings. It might not feel like that right away, and that's okay. Now, that factor of it not feeling like that right away, it's that much more obvious and that much more magnified during a month like this, because it isn't just that Jupiter enters your sign. That would be a blessing. That could be nice. And fortunate closures can sometimes be part of the mix. But the thing is, we have these ongoing connections that are taking place throughout the month. Jupiter squaring Saturn and then Neptune. The Sun squaring Saturn and Neptune before they finally meet with a new moon in your sign. I'll give you those dates in just a moment. While they are squaring Saturn and Neptune. And all of that adds up to some measure of disappointment, uncertainty, wishing that things were different, and questioning how to move forward and what the next best thing to do just might be, and not feeling sure. It's okay to have uncertainty, especially when we expect things to be so wonderful and so smooth. We don't always realize that in the inconvenience, in what it is that feels so hard and so uncertain, actually things are working in our favor. Sometimes the universe does need to create space for the new and the next to find us. In this case, that space, well, it's created in ways that might feel uncomfortable, maybe even for some particularly disappointing. However, you will navigate this time, you will shine through this time. So let's get some of those exact dates now. On the 9th of the month, Jupiter enters your sign, and it is on the 15th of the month that Jupiter will square Saturn, and then on the 19th squaring Neptune. So this magnifies a sense of some uncertainty, and especially where it comes to squares of Saturn, it may really feel as if something you're really hoping would come together, would shift, would change. Well, it doesn't feel like it's coming together. It might not work out as you had necessarily hoped. But that is part of what allows then space or some openness to be created for something better to come in. But we're not done just yet, because as we move forward, it is over the course of the 22nd and 23rd that the Sun will square Saturn and then Neptune respectively. And then we move forward. On the 24th is when the Sun meets Jupiter in the sky with precision. The following day, the new moon, hand in hand with that conjunction. Just having the Sun and Jupiter meet in the sky, well, we think of that as the luckiest day of the year. But even though that energy is happening in your sign, even though if you might have been looking forward to that, a lot of those good vibes of the luckiest day of the year are actually going to be thrown off because of us not being able to recognize the disappointment, and what's ending is actually part of our luck. It just isn't evident just yet. Once we have that new moon in your sign, it's a bright new beginning for what matters to you most and first, what's nearest and dearest to you. The things that we want don't always work out, and yet you have what really matters. And that's going to be part of the appreciation under the light of this new moon. Normally, you get one new moon per sign per year. And this is your moment. It gives you a chance to begin again where it is that it matters to you. It's your personal new year, a part of what brings you to the need to acknowledge that new beginnings are needed. Are all those tense conversations at play that I just mentioned? However, there is a saving grace here, and that beautiful saving grace is the fact that Mars will speak in harmony with this new moon, with some precision at that. And that means there's every reason for hope. There's genuine excitement. There's a sense of empowerment. You have an awareness of what it is that you could do next to feel stronger and to feel strengthened as you move forward from here. Now, taking a step back, because I sort of jumped into the good part of this month that much more readily. But look, on the 11th of the month, we do have a full moon. And this full moon is taking place in a part of the sky for you that has to do with your daily life. And so this energy can feel rather mundane in how quickly it invites you to examine, to understand what you're doing day in and day out, your daily habits and rituals, the work that has to get done, the practical matters of living and taking the best of care of you, including on a level of your health-related rituals. But here's the thing. We have Mars speaking in supreme harmony with this full moon. I love this. Mars is in a part of the sky that has to do with money you earn, money you spend. Self-love and self-esteem are covered here as well. And so that can be very encouraging as part of the energy of this time. However, it is as we move forward on the 15th of the month, Mars is going to speak in a conversation of tension with Uranus. And that can be uncomfortable in some way. It can feel jarring even as well. So it's a good idea to pace yourself as you navigate this time. But it is ultimately one of these energies, one of these moments that, on the one hand, with that full moon, feel very inspired. And yes, it might be an opportunity to earn more money, to do more work, to have your work appreciated, to feel as if you're able to create more prosperity based on what it is that you do well. That can be positively uplifting. But then we move a little bit forward and there's this surprise factor. There's this wrench there that could show up in terms of money and friendship. So especially once we get to the middle of the month, money and friendship do not mix. And that's an important thing to be mindful of at that time, because it may show up to mix in moments that feel surprising or maybe even uncomfortable in some way. And yet it's just a moment that ultimately happens on the same day that Jupiter begins those squares, in particular squares Saturn with Jupiter newly in your sign. And so what that suggests is there's a sense of needing to be honest with yourself, even if it's hard, in the process of whatever surprises feel like they pop up for you now. Ultimately, this just might represent a moment that comes and goes rather quickly. Now, where it comes to matters of love, all around, Jupiter in your sign is a very magnetic energy. It's a magnanimous energy, but it tends to make a person especially attractive to all kinds of good things, and that includes romantically as well. However, a lot of the energy this month where it comes to Jupiter, as we discussed, there's tension. There's a need to acknowledge, to accept what is less than ideal and to make peace with it. But for all that, we are going to have this beautiful energy here of Venus, for the most part beautiful, moving into a friendship part of your sky at the beginning of the month. In fact, it is going to be on the 6th of the month that Venus changes signs, and love and friendship become intimately tied for the rest of the month from there. For the most part, these energies can be rather sweet, engaging, having to do with social events that bring people together, including in matters of heart. However, it is on the 9th of the month, less than 3 hours before Jupiter enters your sign. We're going to have this conversation between Venus and Pluto that is one of tension and one of uncertainty. And when Venus and Pluto speak in this way, there can be some inconvenient or difficult emotions in the context of love that feel like they are stirring or arising for us at this time. And so it becomes really important to pace yourself as you navigate this time, knowing that so much might be stirring within. But for all that, we also have energies here that invite you to get really honest about that line between love and friendship, what feels right, what doesn't, mid-month. And overall, to understand how valuable it is when heart and companionship meet. And with a month like this, I think many Cancerians are going to be much more interested in thinking of the person that they love as their best friend. For those of you open to meeting someone new at a social event, with friends, through friends, this is where the potential for love magnifies that much more under this sky. There's every reason for hope and possibility and really genuine excitement as well. For the most part with this energy, it is rather fun as you are in the company of others. You're able to relax and love connections are able to flow. Of course, that could create some messiness right out of the gate as we get this energy started, especially right around the 9th of the month. But ultimately, even that messiness that might happen at a social event, for example, invites you to touch base with yourself, invites you to then go within and find a clarity of who you are just in time for Jupiter to enter your sign and expand that very definition, bringing healing in the process. For those of you just starting to date someone, I love how, for the most part, Venus moving through and into a friendship part of the sky can be really nice for doing things with this person, social things, getting together, meeting their friends, them meeting yours. But just know, especially right around the 9th of the month, there could be a moment, especially where it is that you're getting to know this person with other people around, which tends to be the case, right? Yeah, there might be some discomfort. There might be some messiness. There might be some uncertainty. Now, whether it feels like a friend is interfering or having undue influence, or whether it is that you see things in this person that take you aback, there is going to be a need to evaluate a pathway forward with this person that you're getting to know. For all that, having Jupiter enter your sign means that you are ripe for a sense of a brand new beginning, whether that is with this person and a fresh chapter of possibility and excitement, or if that new beginning, that fresh energy has you considering another way. And for those of you in an established bond, well, look, the overwhelming majority are going to find this a time where you're feeling a deepening friendship with your partner, feeling greater companionship, enjoying their company, wanting to do social things with them. It's part of what helps the two of you feel that much closer. But there is going to be that small percent out there. On the one hand, yeah, you might find that certain social situations, invitations, they end up creating some messiness, whether it's a friend who has a certain opinion or just what happens in the space of that time can be part of what feels like provides a real learning opportunity for the two of you. But there is going to be that small percent out there. If you felt for a while that you might not be in the right relationship for you, well, your friends might have something to say about that. And sharing your journey with your friends, regardless of how they respond, what their opinions are, what they think, ultimately, it's going to help you that much more to decide on the best course of action for you. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say Jupiter entering your sign. I mean, come on, it's the star of the show. Whenever Jupiter changes signs, which it does once a year, right around once every 13 months or so, well, it tends to be a really big deal. And we are there now at this very big deal of a moment and a time that is inviting you to see yourself differently, more expansively, and to consider where it is you are ready to begin again in all kinds of ways. It is that Jupiter that is providing protection and possibility. What feels like it isn't working, let it, surrender it, because ultimately what feels like it wants to leave, what you really wanted and it isn't coming together, ultimately it is that space that's being created that is, especially in the fullness of time, going to allow a lot more and a lot better to come rushing in. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month. We choose your membership rate over at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.